Hello and welcome back to F1 Manager 2024 Creator Team Mode. ACGP is ours. And we're at round 4, Japan, in its new slot, early in the calendar. And I want to bring you to this page, which is somewhat hidden away. Here in the Cars tab, there is a secondary option beyond here. Current overall ranking 17th, still terrible as I said. But there is a second little tab hidden up here, which shows you your rank on the grid per the race itself. So in Australia, which is high speed, we were actually 15 and 16th on the grid because we're better in that regard. So doing well there isn't as surprising as, say, it would be at Monaco, where apparently we would be the worst as the car is right now. It's the 5th of April. That's not to the end of May. We've got time to sort that out a little bit. And part of that comes from this, of course. We've already installed the rear wing, so that is our capabilities with the rear wing on as a whole, but that largely gives us more top speed, more DRS effectiveness, slightly less dirty air tolerance, and by virtue of putting that front wing on, we're no longer the worst car in Monaco. We'll be the second. Also brings us up one place on the grid here in Japan. Now, I've only got 2 of these front wings, so emergency manufacturing would have to happen if we break one, but we've only got 3 of the old spec. So I think it's worthwhile keeping the old one on Zane's car, just so we can spread them out. I was about to say, aside from just improving a bunch of the lower, cheaper facilities, the boardroom, helipad, etc., the stuff that costs like half a million at most, not really any news to bring you, but by virtue of putting that front wing on one car, it seems, has changed the 3 people who had negative mentality to neutral. No, it's actually the facility upgrade starting that's changed that. Right, it's the simple things. I've spent less than $1 million upgrading 3 different facilities. We do have to go for the matter of predictions. We'll go 18th for Mick and we'll go 20th for Zane.
Konnichiwa from the Suzuka circuit in Japan. This unique track is a favourite home for motorsports, and it welcomes us back this weekend. Get ready for exhilaration and speed with the Japanese Grand Prix.
Red Bull have outscored their rivals to be at the top of the constructors' table right now. And as the final round begins, what a season it's been.
There's nothing like a race weekend in Formula One.
Did I just hear that correctly, by the way? Did Corinne just say this was the last weekend? Alright, game, calm down. Anyway, I will see you for qualifying, as always. Well, I've just encountered the curious case of Zane Maloney's underfloor. Practice 1 takes minor damage to the underfloor, which somehow then gets worse over the course of the session, to the point where he literally just stops on track. The weird thing is, I never got a warning for him going wide until about 5 laps after he'd already taken the damage and then went wide as a separate occasion. So I don't know what caused the damage, because it happened again in practice 3, but only minor, and it didn't get worse. So I've now gone through 2 underfloors, and I don't know why. Obviously, Mick's got a car part that Zane doesn't have, but preparation is as best we can. Still, because of the boundaries, Mick has very high confidence, which is necessary because of the stupid confidence system. See what I mean? Underfloor, missing. I haven't got any more now. You better not damage it again. I believe they fixed this issue. ERS is fine anyway, but like, there's no need to worry about the ERS here at least. That's the same driver. The good news is, whilst these are still expensive as all hell, they shouldn't be this expensive. They cost literally a pittance in real life, apparently, compared to what they cost here anyway. But this is clearly just balancing for cost cap reasons, because we don't get to manage things that do go into the cost cap, I think, is the reason for this. But they're still way too expensive. This is a carryover from last year's game, where they made developing parts more representatively pricey, but then forgot to change this to make it balanced again. So engine parts are way too expensive. This might actually be a regulation change, we get more of these now, but just in general, it's only got 2 ARSs, which I guess wear slower anyway, but yeah, they made everything else more expensive and then forgot to change the thing that was still ridiculously expensive to being in line with everything else. But still a bit of a bugbear, because it is very, almost impossible to stay under the cost cap. Apparently it's especially difficult in Creator Team Season 1. Not sure about traffic there, if I'm honest. I'll be honest, I'm concerned by those times. Well, at least the Ferraris have split the difference between Verstappen and Piastri, because Christ on a bike, Max Verstappen was a margin ahead. So far, it's been largely beneficial to switch our tyres on around a third into the lap. It is a bit cooler here, though. It's about 5 degrees cooler here than it was at Australia. So I'm wondering if it's worthwhile going a little bit earlier here. Yellow flag, interesting. Only momentary, though.
Copy.
Apparently it was Alonso locking up into turn 8 on an in-lap. It's a curious decision when to actually push, because obviously there's a chicane at the end which takes any speed out of you anyway. So probably like the last possible second. Mick's going to get into that chicane now. On board, Zane Maloney. We'll obviously keep an eye on Mick as well, second time wise there. Didn't get the tyres up to temperature. I was right, these did need to go earlier. Can't be far off though. I am actually just curious when they will get warm. There. Pretty much the point at which I set them going, frankly, in the lap, so they did need to be pushed from the first turn onwards. Faster first sectors for both drivers. Let's round the hairpin. Oh, there's a sponsor logo here, which I never noticed and never changed. It's the same sponsor that's there, so probably ought to change that. I think I know where the underfloor damage came from. Blimey, that vibrated in my ears. Fastest first and second sector. It's amazing what you can do when you don't have traffic in the way. Mick only goes 17th. Maloney somehow goes faster. He doesn't have the front wing. Zhou Guan Yu goes fast. I'll be honest, qualifying there, I'm not mad about. Because if we are... Maloney, get off the curbs. If we are the 15th and 16th best car here, qualifying beneath our capabilities might actually help us in the long run. Because it means we're not going to be overtaken by faster cars. This is going to help the confidence system. I put new engine parts in. I mean, it was very close. 2.5 tenths between Logan and Mick there. Everyone here was in a very, very similar boat. I think the Sauber's may have improved. They're both faster. An incredibly boring top 10 in the sense that it is just the top 5 teams. Logan Sargent qualified 12th. No, 13th. Logan Sargent's out-qualified Albon again. Just realised that. Clear Sky is here at Suzuka though, and of course we do have an array of soft tyres to our availabilities. And just in case you weren't aware, these graphs definitely take into your driver's smoothness into account. It's weird that they're telling Maloney to go 2 at the end though, when Mick appears to be the worst smoothness, because you can see his just dipped down underneath this bar if you've got very good eyes, whereas Maloney's literally just hits that bar. That being said, this might be a 3-stop, because I need to be able to go effectively 4 push on this first stint. Come in there on lap 11. Oh, it would be slower, but I don't know how you get away with it. Soft, hard, medium is the only other choice. I'm just thinking Mick's not good on his tyres. It's worth splitting these strategies. We can definitely do soft, hard, soft for Zane Maloney. Screw it. 1.8 a lap. Because it looks like we will definitely get lapped here. Put that in the data banks for later on. I think it reverts your strategy when you change the driver options. I've got to keep an eye on that going forward. It definitely reverted my strategies there.
Welcome back, everyone. The final preparations are now being made as we head into the race. The calm composure of Sergio Perez amongst the hustle and bustle of the grid.
It's a second row start there in P4. The trick will be not to slip backwards because there are plenty looking to capitalise.
And it'll be exciting to see just what will happen here today. The drivers are warmed up, they're ready to go here at the Japanese Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
Front 3 rows are Red Bull, McLaren and Ferrari in various orders. And then it's the Mercs and the Aston Martins, with Tsunoda at his home Grand Prix was already up to 9th temporarily, but has snuck into the top 10 regardless. Still 9th. Maloney up to 18th, Mick stays 20th as things stand. I'm just thinking, pitting early, trying to get through these cars early, getting the confidence for overtaking, pitting early, getting the confidence for then overtaking them again, might help. It's more of a test to see if I can manipulate the confidence system by pitting ahead of all the drivers and trying to use essentially the confidence system against them, as Mick goes very opportunistic on Zhou Guan Yu there. Love it, Mick. Obviously, both drivers are on a soft to start with. This is what I want to see from Mick. Sneaking up the inside there, just going, meh, I'll have that, thanks. I mean, it's still only 19th, but of course this is where I told them to be, 18th for the money. Off the back of that, we should have, in theory, the 15th fastest car. Right, so, chicane time. There's only one DRS, of course, here, and it's on the main straight. They're not allowed to do it on 130R, presumably because of the bend. Although they can do that in Australia, so I don't know why they can't do it here. Have to say, I do think, with the track temperature, we have pushed for that entire first lap. The tyres aren't obnoxiously hot. A 4-push stint may not actually burn the tyres, in Mick's case. But Maloney does have to clear Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg being the one ahead of our drivers here is actually a problem. Because I think the Haas are actually faster than the Williams and the Kick Saubers. And arguably the Alpines. I think they might be 7th fastest overall. So having Hulkenberg, who is seemingly the faster of those two drivers as well, ahead of them is problematic. Because he's effectively the fastest driver that we're competitive with. Him and Albon, I would argue, are probably the two. But that is Zane on the inside of Hulkenberg into 130R. Mick's going to try and make it 3 wide here, which I don't appreciate. Missed the replay there. It's probably worthwhile just cooling the tyres down and then bringing them back up to 4-push, as Mick does get on the inside of Hulkenberg, but then falls back in. Yeah, so if just Mick... Oh, is he still deploying? It'd be great if Mick could then cool these tyres back down again, but without losing Hulkenberg would be great. Mick is on the back of Maloney, and I don't know if Maloney has DRS. I'm kind of hoping he doesn't. So then Mick can go past him. He does. Okay, well, we're going to have to negotiate this. I'm going to see how this unfolds, because I'm obviously worried about Magnussen behind. We're going to have to do it in the right space if we want to... Here's probably the good spot. Nope, it wasn't the good spot. It wasn't the good spot. Magnussen's got a mechanical fault. Doesn't stop him staying on Mick's... Oh, it does actually stop him staying on Mick's tail. Right, go all out, Mick. This is a struggle, but we'll see what undercutting and 3-stopping does. This is all about trying to keep confidence as best we can. That was reasonable from our pit stop. Actually, 2.7. Not our fastest, but definitely not our slowest. Obviously, no traffic on exit. Maloney's turn to go all out. Does have Zhou Yu and Gasly for company. He has lost Magnussen. I don't know why we're so slow. Although, in the one lap he's had on full push, he has dropped Gasly and Zhou Yu by 2 seconds. I don't know if that's tyre wear for them. No, it's nowhere near tyre wear for them. I don't know what's going on. Ricciardo has a pit stop issue. That's going to help. Mick did a 136 last lap, which is faster than Hamilton and Russell and Perez. Max Verstappen's pitted as well. Perez started on a hard. I didn't even see that strategy as an option, so look how far behind Mick Maloney is. I need to know what this interval is, because that is ridiculous. He pitted 4 laps ago, I think, and he is 11 seconds ahead, having only been, I think, a few when he pitted. This strategy for Mick might not be the worst idea. If he can gain like 8 seconds in 4 laps just by undercutting, he might actually be able to make that pit stop when the game didn't think he could. But we are driving 21 and 22 here because nobody else has pitted. Maloney hasn't got the tyres up to temperature, which I don't think is helping. Mick is 14th after the pit stops. He's not actually overtaken anyone, which was kind of the whole point of this stint, but he has undercut everyone by a significant... He's got to pit again, of course, but his confidence is very high. Maloney's is now high as well. Right, so Maloney's got the tyres up to temperature now, which is the main thing. Ideally, we need someone to brake, because Maloney's not going to get 20th the way things are going. But I was right, yeah, a regular 4-push isn't going to burn the tyres. Oh, Gasly pits. That's annoying. Would this count as an overtake for the confidence system? It didn't count as an overtake for the confidence system. So Bottas, maybe on fresher mediums, is slowly gaining on Mick, but... Ooh, VSC. Who's caused this VSC? We've got time to think about this, because there is a chance here for Mick to come in early. Of course it's Logan Sargent. Oh, he's done the Perez. Was that Zane immediately after him as well? I think it was Zane, wasn't it? So Sargent is out. So Gasly now pitting does put him behind Maloney as well, so that is that 20th payout, at the very least. I think we need to take advantage of this and work out what to do here. So obviously the hard now would work, and sticking to the same plan. It's not optimal for Maloney to do anything here. So get him in now. Actually a fast pit stop as well. I swear Mick lost so much more time there. He still lost about 20 seconds. That's not how a VSC works. Oh, no. It's only going to count as 20 seconds because everyone's going slower. Like, one lap of this circuit isn't 149. And yet Gasly is 149 behind. As soon as we get up to racing speed, we'll get the true gaps to leader. Basically got the fuel back as well, which is good. So we'll get both drivers pushing for a lap here off the safety car, mostly to get the tyres up to temperature, because Mick was about 4 seconds ahead of Bottas. as Stroll pits immediately after the VSC ends. Great work from Aston Martin there. We actually aren't far away from being lapped, annoyingly. 18, about 18 seconds behind Bottas. 18 seconds lost in that pit stop, so I guess if it is a little bit over 20 seconds, then we may have gained about 7 seconds by pitting then. I might just let them overtake naturally. Do it once you've got DRS, Mick. Do it once you've got DRS. And once you're past, don't fight. Lovely. All right, so now hunt down Magnussen, please, lads. Maloney's got into a fight with Gasly behind. This is on the outside in 130R. That's risky. Gasly's on a soft as well, which is odd. I wish he stopped saying that line when he's 20th. I think Gasly's got medium soft. People are risking tyres here. Perez on 26 hards. Alonso on 27 mediums. I mean, Perez has gone round again here. Alonso has at least sensibly come in now. But Perez is risking a puncture. He's got to go all the way around one more time. Maloney's confidence is good. Mick's confidence is good, as well as where he started, essentially. So I'm going to keep an eye on Perez here, just because I do suspect he will get a puncture at some point. Oh, no, that's just Sparks. That actually does tell you what lap you're on. There. We've not been lapped yet, but they're close. I am very surprised he's not had a puncture here. 24% those tyres are on. He's gone around about 3 times sub 30% and not suffered a puncture. He has to come in now, surely. So how are you getting on with tyre wear, Mick? So you're well on course to do what I want you to do. Mick is closing in on Magnussen. No, there isn't. I mean, he's guaranteed to be lapped, so there's no point. I mean, Maloney is already lapped. So that's Verstappen behind Mick, so I kind of want him to get past Magnussen before he gets the blue flag.
Okay, perfect, Mick. Let's get back up.
This is going to be super awkward for Mick here. He's just fudged it. So he's got DRS off Verstappen there. Actually, I don't know why I took the fuel off. Get him, Mick, get him, Mick. Oh, never mind. Norris is now second. Leclerc was. I guess Leclerc hadn't pitted at that point. All right, so that's the tyres back up to temperature again. He's going to have to move out of the way for Norris, as is Magnussen, but I think they're both through now. Looks like we might get a move on here. In a weird way. Glad he did it like that. All right, let's get this position. Might as well rewatch this. Different angle. We'll take it. It's a weirdly bad rate. I don't really understand why we're this bad here when they said we'd actually be relatively good. But we know we can push the fuel because we have been lapped. Outside of a second as well, especially because Max has just been lapped by someone else. Giovinazzi doesn't exist. Where's that line come from? And why is Gary Gannon saying it as well? 2 seconds clear of Magnussen. We are closing in on Hulkenberg as well, who has just pitted. That was a terrible time to be lapped, actually, because that's just put Magnussen immediately back on our tail. We should move away from him, though. Oh, yellow flag somewhere. I think it might be someone just running wide. I wouldn't be surprised if that was Gasly, yeah. An Alpine in Spoon. That's exactly what I thought I just saw on the minimap. Just an Alpine going slightly slow around that corner. Just making sure Magnussen got outside of a second before we took the fuel back off. It's just more for the engine temperature than anything. I don't know if any of these need to pit again, is the thing. Because don't forget, Mick pitted earlier. Like, Magnussen definitely needs to pit again. Zhou Guan Yu definitely needs to pit again. Albon, Ricciardo ahead need to pit again. Sonoda is on 30-something. They're going to have to pit again. I think they're well ahead, though, aren't they? This is a terrible race for us, really. But as long as we can get the objectives, I'm not too mad. But crucially, both drivers, I can't actually see the difference between them. I'm going to have to do adding. So we'll just do the adding up here. So this is what? 10 seconds-ish, another 4. So 14 to 15 seconds is the gap between Mick and Maloney from doing this strategy and taking advantage of the VSC, of course. Both of them have to stop one more time. So this is net. So even without the VSC, we are talking about 7 or 8 seconds clear just from this strategy alone, which arguably would have been faster, of course, because I've had to put him on hards. So in theory, Mick should have been going faster than he is right now. So what I think realistically, I gained in the VSC what I lose by being on hards rather than 2 mediums. So I think it's been a bit swings and roundabouts in that regard. But both drivers have to go on a soft at the end here against what will be mediums for most. I don't know what Zhou Guan Yu or Magnussen are going to do here. Magnussen on 32%, I suspect, is going to go on a harder compound than soft because they won't get to the end. Like, Maloney's just about going to make it himself. Could well be worthwhile. What says a gap to Magnussen going full harvest? Or just let a red flag happen, as I'm going to assume Perez has caused a problem. Oh no, it's Magnussen that's caused the problem. Perez has just reached it. So maybe Magnussen with his superb camera work. Superb camera work. Genuinely think that might have been Perez going into the back of Magnussen whilst trying to lap him. but I can't be certain because I didn't see it. This might be the worst case scenario. Well, here's the thing. Both drivers have a medium that will get to the end. Because we're on lap, what, 38. So we've got 15 laps to go. Actually, we've got 15 laps to go. The soft is 11 on, or would have been actually exactly 12 on 4 push. So surely, what lap did I have them going on? I had them going on lap 44 for 9 laps on a soft. Surely a 3 might be viable on a soft. So that's 32 laps at 100%. So we're talking about 3 laps per 10, realistically. So 9 off that is 23. So there's certainly a lot of wiggle room. We'll call it, with the 0.2, of course, that gets a little bit more complicated. But it's effectively 9 or 10 laps would still keep us above. They've got about 22, 23 laps of actual usage there. Whereas this is 23. So that would be 7. So it's 16 at 3 push. I think realistically, if we want to attack these tyres at any point, we have to go mediums. Because this isn't like pitting in the race. This was the lap actually Zane was supposed to come in for softs, as was. Which evidently were fine for a 3 push for Zane Maloney, whose smoothness is better. But because I have to attack the tyres first, we're not going to end... Oh, mind you, we have... Oh no, the lapping would have unlapped, I think. Because we weren't lapped twice, so I think we might actually unlap ourselves by the process of doing this. I think we'll go mediums, just so we can attack them. Worth noting, Zane Maloney cannot fail. Immediately anticlimactic, as we have 4 laps of fuel, apparently. Yeah, so plenty of wiggle room on these mediums to just go out, attack on these. Some people are on hard, some people are on softs. Only Jogwenu and Gasly are on softs in the pack that we kind of care about. Perez still wounded, but only slightly, so I guess obviously the front wing was massively damaged, but other parts weren't. Yeah, Zane can't fail now because he can't be any worse than 20th. And away we go. Still looking at Perez. So actually, yeah, Mick's got a hard-running Ocon to contend with first. And it's a medium-running Alonso that's been bafflingly slow. So Alonso here gets compromised, I think. Yeah, he goes off track. So it wasn't actually Alonso off the line that was slow. It was Alonso later on that was slow. You can see it. You can see how compromised actually we were by going... Bottas has got damage. You can see how compromised we were actually by going on hards originally in that VSC. Because Ocon's already a second behind Mick. He'll get bunched up, I think, a little bit, but that's how bad those hards are in comparison. I won't be surprised if Stroll's on a hard as well. He is. Obviously, he's all about getting them up to temperature as well. But Maloney's cleared him now as well. Those hards are terrible off the restart. Still nowhere near points, of course, but actually, I'll definitely watch this because... Wow, that's just... It's like he wasn't there. Really struggling to get those hards into any sort of window is Ocon. But this is great news, actually. I did sort of say that before the red flag, this might not be great for us, but because of the tyre choices, it actually has panned out. Because it's put us into range of people like Hulkenberg, Ocon, Alonso, Albon, who haven't maybe... I mean, Albon's on a soft there, so he'd probably be all right. But Alonso's also on a medium, and weirdly seems to be a bit off the pace. I think actually I'll take them off deploy, because I don't really need to protect against Ocon at this stage. So I might as well save the ERS for actual fights once this segregates out a bit, which it will do eventually. Is Ricardo on a hard? No, Ricardo's on a soft, just for some reason can't keep up. Don't really know why. But Russell is on a hard and can. I believe Maloney's still on Dauphin Mick, so we should be all right there. Come off the tyres. Still waiting for kind of Alonso and Albon to fade here. Or more specifically, Albon to fade. How has Ocon just appeared and gone through Zane? I don't know what's happened there. Maybe just let the engine cool down, because that is very hot actually on Zane's.
Copy.
Are we actually we're not a lap down, are we, overall? Yeah, so that did unlap us. Because I know that can be a problem. If you're many laps down, you still don't actually get fully unlapped. Right, so push the engine again. Was Ocon just saving? What's going on here? He's definitely obviously got the tyres up to temperature now, but I am so confused. Awesome. I'm so confused where the pace has come from for these cars now and where ours has gone in comparison. It's not like those hards are actually... He's actually pushing the hards, evidently, because on the same level as our mediums. I think Ocon may be full attacking those hards at this stage, which they kind of need to do to keep them... Zane, why does this keep happening? I could theoretically actually... Did I miss him going wide or something? Because his confidence is now utterly in the toilet. It's all right, Mick. It's all right. You're still 15th. You're still 3 places ahead of where we would need to be. So, I mean, actually, you are basically on par right now. You'll get Ocon back here. Still evidently pushing those tyres, though, to some degree. Some people I think must be really nursing these softs because they are really strong still for 4 laps to go. Like, Zhou Guanyu's are done, but Verstappen's are fine. And Perez and Leclerc's, they're all fine. Perez evidently has had another situation here to be on 37%, but like the ones down here, Albon's, Gasly's, Zhou's, obviously they pushed theirs, but Ocon must have come off. All right, so just pushed Mick out of range of Ocon there. Didn't actually see the replay of him re-overtaking, I just realised, I don't think. Albon did eventually fall away from Alonso, but evidently got dragged long enough that he's not going to be catchable. As of course his softs go off, but yeah, Maloney might as well just not exist in this race. There's 3 laps to go. I'm not going to retire him, there's no point, but that underfloor damage has utterly killed him. I don't know where it came from, when it happened, but it's killed him in the way that it's not killed Bottas. So it'll be 2 laps to go for Mick Schumacher when he crosses the line. I think it's worthwhile just going full 5 push just for 2 laps because Ocon is slightly getting closer. Maybe same for Zane, just see if we can get vaguely in touch. It'd be nice if he could get into range with Zhou Guanyu, at the very least. Just keep Mick out of range would be lovely of Ocon. 2.7 now, that gap's grown by a full second just by actually attacking the tyres. Just realised we can probably get away with full ERS on Zane Maloney. He's on 87% now. 6 seconds to Albon, not happening. Let's see if Maloney can avoid being the worst of the remaining cars. 35% his tyres on. Zhou Guanyu's on 30%. So Zhou Guanyu's going to be at risk of puncture on this last lap. Perez is at risk of puncture again. And I would say he's not far enough ahead if his tyre goes now that he won't end up outside the points. Or indeed Mick, for that matter, if his tyre goes now. But good work, Zane. He'll actually get in range of Zhou Guanyu, whose tyres have gone. So we can maybe get 18th with Zane, which would have been the upper threshold. Wasn't confident with Zane, but especially as he hasn't got all the parts that Mick has, of course. Again, you're just trying to be not last there, Zane. But he should be able to get Zhou Guanyu. How has Perez avoided tyres bursting? Oh, he's just been pushed off track. Twice, Perez has taken tyres to about 23%, and neither time has his tyre blown up. Well, we'll watch the overtake on Zhou, which happened whilst we were paying attention to Perez. That is not a corner you typically overtake on, but we'll take it. Yeah, he literally has that line and then the oh my goodness. He has that line with the ha-ha at the end, or not the ha-ha, and the oh my goodness. So Albon's on 33% tyres remaining. 5 seconds is the gap to Mick. It's a pity Albon's tyres can't randomly just blow up now, isn't it? But Tsunoda, close to getting 2 points in his own race, does get 1. Ricciardo's car was damaged enough to get Alonso into less than 3/10 behind him. Mick closes the gap to under 4 seconds, which we'll take. And only by absolutely going for it on this last lap, nearly actually gets Bottas. 1.6 behind. But we'll take 14th with Mick. I'll take that. As the results go, I'll take that. Considering that our car was meant to be 15th with Mick, I don't think any faster cars as such have necessarily left. Because realistically, the Haas, I think, is in that picture of 15th as well. I think realistically, that was a bit of a weird one. Albon obviously has a competent driver in a car that is in this section. I haven't actually double-checked this, but I suspect the Kick Sauber is the worst car and the Alpine the second worst car. But Gasly and Ocon are obviously probably mid-80s drivers in terms of their overall rating. Bottas is going to be in the 80s as well for that Kick Sauber. Hülkenberg and Magnussen are probably late 70s, early 80s for their car, but the Haas is probably better than our car, the Kick Sauber car, and the Alpine car for sure. And then the Williams car, I think it's Williams, ourselves, and Haas in a similar block. And this is where drivers come into play because Logan Sargent is on par with us, Albon is much better. So that's kind of where the difference happens here. With Mick being 5 seconds behind Albon, that's effectively that difference. I reckon their cars are about the same, but Albon's better. That said, did get him up 6 places. And similarly, that does get him up 2 places out of the 0 pointers. Does nothing for our overall where Alpine and Haas and Williams and Kick Sauber have already had a better than 14th place. Apparently. We do, however, get 6 points in the DHL fastest pit stop. Thank you for that, at the very least. We are now 9th. We only had 3 pit stops all told. We're 700,000 by picking slightly more ambitious targets this time round. Every penny counts. That literally almost covers the facility upgrades we just spent, as the reserve drivers get a point. I did change their contracts, by the way. That was part of the patch, so I think their contracts needed to be... I don't think that's one of the things that can get changed mid-save. That's only something that can be changed once you start a new save. I suspect anybody you sign now who is a generator driver will now have reasonable demands in that respect. But I just gave them sensible contracts because that's what they should be on roughly. Yeah, so we now have no underfloors. When does the design come in? After China. Okay, so I do need to build them now. I am gonna have to rush them because I do need 2. Front wing's not a problem because I can then put the new one on him. Can't manufacture anything else because we're manufacturing the front wing. Vote. Which way round do we want this to go? Engine cooling or airflow? Oh, so cooling or airflow. Okay. I think realistically airflow is the bigger one, so we'll go for that just to keep things interesting. But we can't do anything else. We're 18th. Apparently we're 18th, but we don't have an underfloor, so I don't know how that works. We have a really good DRS right now. We're top half on the DRS. Quite worthwhile looking at that with the car that actually has an underfloor because it said our high speed was 22nd. We have the 3rd best DRS effectively then at 45%, which is hilariously low. That is not a car that should average at 18th. That's clearly broken because the one without an underfloor is regarded 17th as an average, and yet the one with an underfloor is regarded 18th. Looking at those numbers, I'd say that's averaging at 11, really, because we've got one at 5th and then a bunch at 13, 15, maybe, 11, 12, 13, somewhere around there. I think they've messed up there. Oh, we actually have one person who's happy. Who's happy? Gary's happy. Sure. Thank you for joining me for this one. As well, I think we negated what was going to be seemed to be a very tricky race for some reason, but we made the best of it. Mick's now up to 16th in the championship by virtue of just non-point scoring places. Count back. But it is China next, which of course is a sprint weekend. Not that we're going to probably trouble the sprint itself, but at least it's something a little bit different. And of course it's China, which hasn't featured in an F1 game, F1 Manager game at all as of yet. They pop them in the regular Cody's games as a bonus track that you could put in, but they've not had it in the F1 Manager game as of yet because it hasn't been on the calendar. And you can only change the tracks that are on the calendar already. So, through other means, this is going to be a novelty here in more ways than one. Facility-wise, we do get 2 of the cheapo things up before the Chinese Grand Prix. So that might help mentality a little bit overall. Because if we can get these guys happy, we can get their attributes up and make the most of that. But I'll see you for that next time round. Thank you for joining me. If you did enjoy this, then like, comment, subscribe. Bit of a weird one, but if you enjoyed it nonetheless, do all that stuff. You know how this works. Until then, anyway, ta-ra.